Fahrenheit 451. You know, that's not just some random title. It's an actual scientific fact. It's the temperature where book paper catches fire and, well, burns. And that one simple idea? That's the core principle of the whole world we're about to dive into. The book kicks off with this line that it stops you in your tracks. We're immediately thrown into a world where the act of destruction isn't some tragedy, it's a special pleasure. A world where a fireman holds a brass nozzle spitting kerosene and feels like a conductor playing these epic symphonies of blazing and burning.
And that, right there, is the central question of this entire story. It's the journey of a man who goes from finding joy in the flame to risking absolutely everything for the words inside the pages. So let's explore how it all gets started.
Okay, so first things first, we need to understand the world of our main character, a fireman by the name of Guy Montag.
All of this comes from Ray Bradbury's iconic 1953 novel, which is this chilling vision of a future that, honestly, in a lot of ways, feels kind of familiar, doesn't it?
So in this world, firemen are basically the state's enforcers. Their job isn't to put out fires, it's to start them. They burn any and all books they find. And our guy, Montag, he's good at his job. He loves it. To him, the smell of kerosene is perfume. He even has this fiery smile that's described as being gripped by his face muscles, like a permanent part of his professional, happy uniform.
But Montag's perfect, fireproof world, it starts to show some cracks after a single chance encounter he has walking home one night.
He meets his new neighbor, Clarice McClellan. She's 17, and she's just different. While Montag and everyone else rush by so fast that life is just a blur of color, she walks slowly. She actually likes to smell things and look at stuff, like the man in the moon. But the most dangerous thing about her? She asks questions. She even observes him and says, "You never stop to think what I've asked you."
And then she hits him with it. The simplest but most devastating question of all. Are you happy? And at first he just scoffs, right? Happy of all the nonsense. But after she runs off, the question just hangs in the air, and it follows him home. He realizes that permanent smile of his has melted away. And the truth is, he is not happy.
That question is just echoing in his mind as he steps into his house, and the way Bradbury describes it, it's not a home, it's a tomb. It's like entering the cold, marbled room of a mausoleum after the moon had set.
And in that tomb, he finds his wife, Mildred. She's unconscious, cold, with an empty bottle of 30 sleeping pills right there on the floor. The only sign of life is this tiny hum from the seashell radios that are jammed into her ears, still feeding her this constant ocean of electronic sound, even when she's on the brink of death.
But here's where it gets really chilling. No doctors come rushing in. Instead, two handymen show up with these machines. One is like a black cobra that snakes into her stomach to pump everything out. The other one replaces all of her blood with fresh blood. And the whole time, they're just completely detached, smoking cigarettes while they work.
And after they're all done cleaning her out, what do they say? That'll be $50. A life saved, or at least postponed, for the price of a simple service call. It's just a cold, casual transaction.
The next day, Mildred wakes up hungry, with zero memory of the night before. She just dismisses Montag's concern and immediately starts talking about what she really wants, a fourth wall-to-wall TV for her parlor. The price tag, $2,000, which is a third of his entire yearly salary. This is the incredible emptiness that Montag is just starting to see.
So Montag's unease is just building and building. Then they get a fire call that changes absolutely everything. Before, he was just burning things. This time, he has to burn a person's whole world down right in front of her.
When they break into an old woman's house, she doesn't scream or run. She stands there, surrounded by her books, and calmly quotes a 16th century English martyr who was burned at the stake for heresy. This single act of defiance just completely baffles the firemen.
Her commitment is absolute. She refuses to be dragged away. When the fire captain, Beatty, threatens to light the kerosene, she reveals she has her own match. She chooses to die with her books, a final act of protest that proves to Montag that there must be something in them, something worth dying for.
As books are raining down all around him, one lands right in Montag's hands. And in that moment, his hand acts on its own. It's described as having a brain of its own, and it shoves the book under his arm. This is no longer just a thought, it's a crime. He has crossed a line.
Haunted by the woman's death, Montag calls in sick.
But you don't get a sick day in this world without a little visit from your boss. Captain Beatty arrives, and he's not there to offer sympathy. He's there to deliver a history lesson.
Beatty explains how their world came to be, and it's this terrifyingly logical progression. It wasn't the government, he says, it was the people. They demanded faster, simpler stuff. So classics got cut down to a one-page summary. Controversy was removed to avoid offending anyone. The goal was to make every person a mirror image of every other, because if there's no comparison, there's no envy. And finally, you just fill every waking moment with mindless fun, so there's absolutely no time for dangerous thinking.
In their own eyes, they are the heroes. We're the happiness boys, Beatty says. They aren't the villains in their story. No, they're the guardians of a fragile peace, protecting everybody from the misery of complicated ideas and conflicting thoughts.
But Beatty's lecture, it doesn't reassure Montag at all. It does the exact opposite. It confirms his deepest fears and pushes him to make a final, irreversible choice.
He goes to the ventilator grill in his hallway, the one he's been nervously glancing at, and he pulls out his secret. And it's not just the one book from last night, but around 20 books that he's stolen over the years. His wife Mildred just backs away in pure terror, as if he'd unleashed a pack of rats into their home.
He pleads with her, trying to explain this emptiness he feels in their lives. Her nightly pills, his destructive job. He sees their entire society just hurtling toward a cliff, and he believes these books, this hidden knowledge, it might be their only way out.
As he sits there on the floor, surrounded by these forbidden treasures, his wife terrified and the world outside listening for any sign of dissent, Montag picks one up, opens it, and whispers the question that marks the true beginning of his rebellion: where do we begin?